The most eagerly anticipated Formula 1 car of 2023, the Red Bull RB19, finally broke cover on the first day of pre-season testing. While we had a distant glimpse of the car from its filming day at Silverstone, this is the first time we've had the chance to take a close look at the car that is favourite for this year's championship. And although the concept is familiar given it's an evolution of last year's all-conquering Red Bull RB18, there's a vast number of detailed changes as the team has found ways to squeeze more performance out of the car. In testing last year, Red Bull caught the eye by introducing an aggressive sidepod evolution on the final day of pre-season running. This year, it's once again the sidepods that first grabbed the attention, not through a major overhaul, but by setting new standards for how extreme they are. The RB19 sidepods feature a dramatic undercut, so much so that it's strayed into twin floor territory almost. That terminology was first applied to the dire 1992 Ferrari F92A, which featured a long, straight channel under the sidepods. Toro Rosso also brought back the concept on its 2011 car. Neither of those were especially successful. So why has Red Bull gone this way? Well, firstly, it's not quite the same as we've seen before. Last year's car was already heading in this direction, but the even more pronounced undercut this year is what creates the effect of a twin floor. From what we can see, there is also a well-crafted aero shape in that undercut that builds on last year's design. It's likely that some reduction of size and modification of the cooling package helped to create these even more compact sidepods. The logic behind going so aggressive in this area is to increase the amount of airflow that can then travel down the sides of the bodywork towards the Coke bottle area, which feeds the vital gap between the rear wheels. When that airflow joins up with what's coming through the diffuser, it makes the diffuser work the airflow harder, which in turn generates more performance from the underfloor area that has become so important in F1's ground effect rules. While at first glance the sidepods are similar to last year's car, the refinement and aggression here is emblematic with the approach Red Bull has taken with the whole car. So while many other teams have spent the winter trying to create their own versions of last year's sidepods, Red Bull has been able to move the design on another step. Red Bull exhibits an evolutionary approach all round the car, which is logical given how dominant the RB18 became over the course of 2022. Why tear up what worked in the first year of F1's new rules when you can just make it better in lots of small ways? The nose cone has visibly changed with a flatter design that is likely to have aided Red Bull's push to reduce weight. The front wing is also more consistently loaded across its span compared to last year's design. As part of this change, there is also likely to be a little more outwash effect, one of the things the new rules were designed to minimise. The new wing should also improve airflow to the front of the floor, which has been modified. Red Bull was prolific in the changes made to the crucial fences at the front of the floor last year, as it tuned the car's aero characteristics for each circuit, so we can expect more of the same this year. The mechanical package is also similar to last year. Red Bull retains the front pull rod and rear push rod suspension configurations it switched to last year. There's also significant stagger on the inboard pickups of the top wishbone on the front suspension. Red Bull's floor, like all the 2023 cars, is modified to the regulations that require the edges to be 15mm higher. It also features a striking floor edge wing and some distinctive vortex generators before the floor edge. The car features a relatively simple wing mirror design compared to the rest we've seen this year. The mirrors have been made larger in the rules for this season, and it's possible that we may still see an evolution of this. Further rearward, it's all about refinement. The engine cover is a little more compact, and the downwash ramp at the rear of the sidepod is a bit more aggressive. Ultimately, Red Bull won 17 of 22 races last year, so a development of the car that achieved those numbers should mean it's in good shape for the coming season. What we can't see about this car is the weight. Every team has taken an aggressive approach when it comes to weight saving, and Red Bull will be no exception. Last year, it worked hard to reduce the RB18's weight with a particular emphasis on making the front of the car lighter. This also conferred a dynamic advantage as it helped eliminate the understeer limitation and produce a car that Max Verstappen was better able to exploit. After all, an oversteery car will be quicker, provided you have a driver capable of manipulating it and living with it, and Max Verstappen is certainly that. There was also talk of a lightweight chassis that was never introduced last year as Red Bull didn't need it. It's likely that this year's monocoque is lighter, and therefore Red Bull will have taken another positive step with its weight distribution. Red Bull will likely have set targets not just to be on the minimum weight of 798 kilograms, but below it. That will give it the capacity to run ballast to refine the weight distribution within the range permitted by the regulations. The more control you have over your weight distribution, the better your car is going to handle. So it's a case of improvements all round for Red Bull. It was already on the right track in terms of its standard setting concept last year, as proved by the fact every other car on the grid has taken at least some inspiration from it. So for Red Bull, it's a case of better and more of everything for 2023. We'll have much more coverage from F1 testing on our channel over the coming days, so now would be a good time to subscribe and hit the notifications bell if you haven't already and you want to keep up with all the big stories heading into 2023. And from Thursday to Saturday, check out our website, therace.com, to follow live coverage of testing with the Race Live Hub. We'd love for you to join us.